Hi, good morning. I hope you had a great weekend. Today I want to talk about a problem that plagues millions of people across the world. The scary part about this is people don't think it's a serious problem, and a lot of people have learned how to live with this particular problem, and a lot of people think that it's okay if they have this. But this problem, constipation, is linked with so many innumerable issues that happen in the human body, linking from migraines to headaches to unexplained fatigue to the inability to lose weight to weight gain to your gut health to autoimmune disorders to absorption and assimilation of nutrients. This one condition, constipation, can cause so many other problems. And sometimes when we see all these symptoms that we have in the human body and we start searching for ways to fix hair fall, we start looking for ways to fix our skin, get rid of acne, we look for ways to improve our gut health, autoimmune disorders, all of that stuff. Sometimes all we need to do is, if we have chronic constipation or constipation, we need to just fix that one thing. And when we fix constipation, everything else seems to get better. In my experience over the years, people who have constipation, they're not just people who live in villages, they're not the people who are living, in conditions which are not favorable. They are also people living in urban cities, educated people, affluent people. This is a common problem amongst people across the world. Now, we have to understand that the human body has 5 eliminatory organs: your lungs, your liver, your kidney, your skin, and your colon, which is your bowels. If any one of these eliminatory organs are not working the right way, we have problems. For example, our lungs, if it's not working the right way, we're not taking in the right amount of oxygen, and we're not able to give out the right amount of carbon dioxide, we have problems. The same thing with the liver. If the liver is not functioning the right way, we have a sluggish liver, and then we have problems like a fatty liver, we have fatigue problems, we have weight gain, we have estrogen dominance, we have all of these issues. If it's the kidneys, we have high uric acid, sometimes we have high creatinine levels, we have problems with our kidney, and then if it's the colon and the bowels, that's what we're going to talk about right now. So what causes constipation in most people? It's usually a lifestyle condition. It's caused by poor lifestyle. It can be multifactorial for many people, and for some people it could be just one issue. So for example, in our experience, most people who are constipated have low water intakes. Only by increasing their water intake, they find that they can pass a motion. That's because the bulk of the stool, the volume of the stool, gets created with the amount of water that you have, so it can be pushed out of your system in a smooth and easy way. When we don't have the right amount of water, the stool tends to harden in the colon, and then we have to push it out, leading to piles, hemorrhoids, and all those issues. Plus, we got to push out the stool, which is toxic waste. If you ever poop and after pooping, you look inside the toilet pot and you observe what you see, smell it, look at it. Does it seem good to you? No, it's disgusting. It's toxic waste. Now imagine you're keeping that in your system when you're constipated. Imagine all of that is creating toxic gases in your body. It's affecting you somewhere. A lot of toxins which are meant to be eliminated from the colon stay inside of your colon, getting reabsorbed back into your blood, causing destruction to your gut wall, affecting assimilation, affecting absorption, and putting foreign bodies and molecules which are supposed to be passed out of your system back into your blood. So now it's in your blood where it's not supposed to be, so your immune system flares up and starts to attack your own body. And that's the natural defense mechanism of the human body. The second thing that we see commonly in people who have constipation is a low fiber diet. So people who are constantly eating junk, people who are eating processed food, these foods are devoid of fiber. There's absolutely no fiber, and you need fiber to form the bulk of your stool. You need fiber to mechanically slowly move through your body, through your colon, and push the stool out. Fiber on its way has a cleansing process where it also attaches and binds to several toxins, reaches your colon, and exits from the body. A sedentary lifestyle, the human body was designed to move. The human body was not designed to sit no matter what. It was designed to move. When we move, we generate something called piezoelectricity between the cells. This electricity makes your cells function the right way. So you could be having the best diet, you could be sleeping well, you could be doing a 1-hour workout, but if you're sedentary for the rest of the day, you cause a problem to the human body and its functioning. So when you move, you allow blood circulation. When you allow the right amount of blood circulation to reach trillions of cells, you allow each organ in the human body, including the colon, to perform its duty without the requirement for laxatives or any additional thing. And then we have high protein diets. A lot of people today go on these high protein diets. If you're not an athlete or you're not training for some athletic event, you need the right amount of protein for your body. If you go high protein, what happens is it also tends to constipate us. So if you are one of those people who need to go high protein, then make sure that you're also high fiber. If you have more protein in your body, you need more fiber as well, because there's no point in having more protein to build a great body but being constipated. It just negates all the effects of trying to build a good and healthy body. Then we have the impact of stress and sleep. We all know that chronic stress impacts your gut. Anything that impacts your gut impacts your colon as well. So we know that some people, when they're too stressed, they'll go 4 or 5 times to the loo. And that leads to a syndrome called irritable bowel syndrome. This is usually linked to anxiety. So the more anxious you get, you keep running to the loo. And for the others, it works in the opposite way, where you get highly constipated. So stress, the lack of sleep. Why sleep? How is sleep connected with your constipation? While we sleep, your body's detoxifying. Now, if you don't have the right sleep, or you cut down your sleep, you're cutting into the body's natural detoxification process. You don't detoxify the right way, you find a problem passing a motion the next morning. So even your sleep, the basics that nature's given us, is connected to everything in the human body. Excessive tea and coffee will also constipate you, because excessive tea and coffee dehydrates you. Again, low water intake, you have too much of dehydration in the body, you tend to get constipated. And then you have laxatives. Some people get so dependent on laxatives that they say, hey, I'm not constipated. If you need a laxative to pass a motion every day, you still are constipated. It's just that a laxative is helping you push out your motion. Now, this is bad, because after a while, your bowels lose its own ability to function on its own. And then you always need a laxative. Now, many people do need a laxative to help them through a certain period, because I'd rather you take a laxative and pass out a motion than keep the toxic waste within you. But many people, they abuse the crutch of a laxative, and they say, oh, it's working, let me not make other lifestyle changes to improve my constipation. The same way we look at cholesterol drugs. Oh, my levels are fine, I'm on a statin, I don't need to change my lifestyle. Or their diabetic levels. I'm on a diabetic pill, my sugar levels are fine, I don't need to do anything, I'm healthy. You're not healthy. Okay, there's just a drug that's suppressing your symptom, you are not healthy. It's masking other symptoms, which is eventually going to manifest into something more serious. So if your body can't push out a stool, there is something wrong, and you've got to make lifestyle changes. Now, certain medications, certain treatments like chemo and radiation can lead to constipation. So when you're going through that, you will need what your doctor has prescribed. But what you also need is to understand that it's not a good thing to be on, because a laxative pushes out everything, the good and the bad, from your colon. So sometimes we're deficient because of the laxatives that we take. So all this toxic gas that accumulates in your body leads to migraines, leads to fatigue. Sometimes you're so tired throughout the day, you think you need more coffee, you need more tea, you need to eat more for energy. No, you just have toxic gases in you. When there are toxic gases in you, it creates brain fog. That brain fog slows you down, and you think you have a problem that you don't, but it's only related to the functioning of your colon. For women, this is a bad thing. It's a bad thing for men as well, but for women, because it begins a cycle of estrogen dominance. Today, we can link estrogen dominance with almost every issue in a woman's body. From an ER positive, that's an estrogen receptor positive breast cancer, to an endometrial lining issue, to an ovarian issue, to PCOD, anywhere where there's estrogen dominance in the human body. So when you get constipated, estrogen, which is supposed to pass out of your system, gets backed into your system, moves to your liver, reactivates, and now you have a cycle of estrogen dominance. So when you look at that fat in your abdominal area, you're working out hard, you're dieting, and yet you can't lose all that abdominal fat, that is usually estrogen dominance. And it creates its own cycle, which then starts feeding other cells in the human body. So you have fibroids, you have cysts, you have polyps, all of these things. You got to starve it for it to get better, not just kill it with hormone replacements all the time and all of these conventional drugs. When it's needed, take it, but you need to understand what's causing estrogen dominance. A huge factor is constipation in the body. Immunity. We all know that immunity starts in the gut. If you have a problem in your gut, you have a problem with immunity. So if you have constipation, you have a problem with your gut, you have low immunity. So sometimes instead of popping reishi mushroom and all the pills and everything that boosts immunity, you just got to clean your gut, make sure your colon's functioning the right way, and your body has the intelligence to automatically boost your immune system. And then we have the connection with depression. Now just imagine that your gut and the human mind is connected. There are 12 cranial nerves that connect. One of them, your gut, to your brain. And we've seen this in patients with depression. You can be on pill after pill and you're only getting more and more addicted to it. This doesn't mean that you jump off your pills. I'm just trying to explain to you, you may need your depression pills. Do not get off them without your doctor's supervision, but understand that there's a lot more that you can do when you're depressed. Because when you're depressed, your cortisol levels are high. Your high cortisol levels are affecting your gut, the health of your gut. So if you put a lot of focus into repairing your gut and healing your gut, there is a huge chance that your depression gets better and better. Because serotonin is synthesized in the gut, not in the brain. It's synthesized in the gut. There are many, many things which are produced in the gut that influences your moods in your brain. So there's a gut-mind connection, and you've got to put a lot of focus in your gut when you're depressed, when you know someone who's going through depression, because again, the pill is only going to suppress the symptom and going to become very, very addictive to that person. So sometimes it can get better if you holistically look at your gut and the problem in your mind as well. So let's get straight into the solution. Number one, fiber. There's insoluble and soluble fiber. You need a combination of both. When you have a diet that's rich in fruits, vegetables, nuts, some proportion of raw. So your raw would be your raw soaked nuts. It would be some amount of raw vegetables, your raw fruits, and the balance is your cooked food. You build up enough of fiber. When you have too much of processed food, too much of outside food, which is stripped of its fiber, you have low fiber automatically. So sometimes we don't have to add additional fiber to our diet. We just got to eat in a balanced way, and we should get sufficient amount of fiber. Water intake, like I said, even a 1% drop of water levels in your body will cause innumerable problems in your colon and every organ in the human body. You got to move more, so you want to get your 10,000 steps or your 8,000 steps or whatever it is, or your exercise and your movement. I'm talking about movement throughout the day. Like I said, a 1-hour workout is useless if you're going to be sedentary for the rest of the day. You want to do your 1-hour workout, and you also want to be active throughout the day. So work with your coaches to find out how you can be active even if you have a sitting job. And then if you're on certain kinds of medication, understand that the side effects of those medications can cause constipation. So work with your coaches and your doctor so that you can minimize the side effect of your medication and reduce your constipation. Then you have something called Psyllium Husk. In India, it's called isabgol. This is a fiber. It's a very safe fiber, but be careful. Some people who have irritable bowel syndromes or very weak guts, excess fiber can actually be an irritant and cause more problems. So if it's fine with you, you could do a tablespoon, you could do 2 tablespoons mixed with water about 30 minutes before 1 meal, 2 meals, 3 meals, or you could do it before bedtime as well to improve your stool. But always look for the root cause as to why you're constipated. Castor oil, our parents gave this to us with a little bit of jaggery or a little bit of sugar. Castor oil once or twice in a week just before you go to bed. A good cold pressed castor oil, not a refined castor oil, will also help you, move that bowel of yours and pass out a motion when you're too constipated. Then you have prunes and black raisins. You take about 6 to 8 black raisins, you soak it overnight, and in the morning you eat those raisins. So this is high fiber that's going to help you push out your stool. I'm a fan of what the Japanese do as well. They wake up in the morning to a liter of water. They fill a liter of water in a bottle and they sit down and they slowly sip it. And then you start getting a little bit bloated, and then you pass out your motion automatically. It assists you in having a clean bowel motion in the morning. Ajwain, which is also called bishop's weed. Now what you do is you take like half a teaspoon, you boil it in water, and you have this. This stimulates your bowel movement as well. So if you're constipated, this can work for you as well. Deworming. A lot of us don't deworm, and it's very, very important for us to deworm, and especially in the kind of situation and environment that we live in today. So you want to check with your Goki doctor, you want to check with your professionals that if you've not dewormed for a long time, you will want to deworm, and they'll advise you on how to do that. This is for your children, this is for you, this is for your parents as well, because a lot of us are living with worms and parasites inside of our digestive system, and it's causing innumerable problems. So you want to make sure that you deworm, because that's the kind of environment that we live in today. And we also have to understand that there's a simple thing that we can do. With the whole introduction of Western toilets, the Indian toilet was the most powerful way of cleaning out the bowel movement, because you squat in a position where your puborectalis muscle gets activated and pushed against, and you have like this complete evacuation. But I'm not saying you have to stop using Western toilets, but what you can do is very important. But when you're sitting on the commode, you got to bend forward. So you get your chest towards your knees. You hold your ankle, just get your chest towards your knees. And you automatically stimulate the puborectalis muscle, and you're able to pass out a motion. Now you may say, hey, I'm not constipated, I'm passing out a motion. But do this and you'll pass out even more. Because you see, a lot of fecal matter gets left behind in the colon because of the position we're in. So sometimes by just moving forward, chest towards your knees, what's going to happen is you're going to push out a little more fecal matter, which is a good thing for you. And then, of course, work with your coaches. It's always good to go through a colon cleanse, simple colon cleanses at home, okay, which helps your body flush out excess toxic waste. So that's it about constipation. If you know people who are constipated, if you're constipated, please understand it is a serious issue. When we take out the 4 commonalities of cancer patients over the last 2 years, constipation is one commonality that we see in people who have cancer. And it makes so much of sense because it's linked with immunity, inflammation, toxic waste, and everything in the human body. And that's how it works. So you keep the 5 eliminatory organs in the human body clean and you don't have a problem. Have a great day, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, and breathe deep.